Good morning YouTube. So, the other day when I finished filming, I didn't stop working. I've stripped out the rest of the car. On the rear, everything is now out. The thing is absolutely disgusting. Desperate for a pressure wash. So that's what I'd like to try and get done today. I also compression tested the engine, turned it over by hand first, turned it over really smoothly. The compression test is still absolutely perfect as I expected, because I compression tested it before it went in and it literally done 2 drift days and one where it instantly snapped both shafts with a 3rd gear clutch kick. So yeah, the engine is still good. So like I said, this thing is just absolutely filthy. I've also cut some bits of tube ready for roll cage improvement. So yeah, they're all ready to go. I've got the, I think I mentioned it before, I've got the anti-intrusion bar to go through to the turret with a brace up to that. I'm going to put an extra bar in here, really because I think it looks nice more than anything. Create an X on the rear of the roll cage as well, rather than just the one diagonal. And I am really quite tempted to cut the door bars out and do some NASCAR style door bars that come right into the outside of the sort of door aperture to protect myself a little bit better. Still not really decided on that. I might leave them in, but yeah, I might go for some NASCAR bars. Not really sure. Have to think on about that one. But that'll be the cage then up to spec, I believe. I've got to check the regulations again. As far as the rear goes, I'm going to put a fuel tank in here, and then rather than try and box the tank in or go up the rear of the cage how I'd intended, I think I'm just going to sort of panel this bit off, come to here and then up to the rear screen. That way I have access to the tank through the back still. There's a big problem when you section off this area here. If the tank is there, if a fuel pump fails, absolute nightmare to get to. So the only access point you've really got is through the window, because you've the side windows, because you've got all the ducting into the radiator from the rear screen, and obviously the rear screen is there. So really need to plan this carefully and try and get the layout of everything right. I've learnt quite a lot over the years with various different layouts I've tried. I got it right with the last MX-5 I built, but I need to get it right with this, because there's a lot going on at the back here and I need access to everything. So anyway, next stage, let's pull the engine out. Sometimes the things you have to do when you've got very limited space are absolutely ridiculous. But it's out. So I have restrictions up here with the roof trusses, and a restriction here with the entrance to the doorway. The car won't push far enough back without the engine crane going outside. I've got the drainage gully to push the engine crane over. Yeah, that was fun. I'd forgotten quite how tight JZs in BMWs are. It's sort of up against the front cross member with the sump, and the gearbox is up against the tunnel. So yeah, it's quite a squeeze, but like I say, it's out. That's the main thing. We can, ooh, whatever's that? Nice little spacer. Bizarre. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to break the gearbox off the engine just to make it easy to manoeuvre around. So I want to put the engine on the engine stand anyway, flip it upside down and check the bearings. But next up, this thing outside for a pressure wash, because every time I lean on it, it's absolutely covered in dirt, and that's no fun. So outside she goes. Gearbox is off. There's some water inside the gearbox, I'm assuming, because with the ABC kit you have to cut the hole in the side of the gearbox because the starter nose pokes out of here. I think we got a bit carried away with the size of the hole we cut out, and it needs a plate over there just to prevent water from getting in. Clutch plates are all still fine. I will measure them and check the standard spec, but this ABC kit has done one season of King of Europe Pro Series in my MX-5. Then I sold it with the car to my friend Lee. He's done 2 drift days, so it really hasn't done a lot of work. The flywheel surface it's had a few sort of heat moments, but it's all smooth and flat still, so that's fine. Now I've got to decide whether I'm going to take the flywheel off so I can get it on the engine stand, which I've currently got the K-series on. or just sort of struggle and mess around on the floor, which might just be easier. I haven't got a lot to do with this, it's just turn it upside down and check the bearings, put some new bearings in, check all the clearances and just clean it all up really. So I might just do that on the floor for the sake of it. So yeah, the car I have cleaned. That's currently soaking in TFR because it hasn't come up very well with the first pressure wash, so I'm just waiting for that to sort of soak in and do its work, then I'll give it another pressure wash. Now I need to tidy all this stuff up, get out of the way, so I've got space when I get the car back inside again. So a bit of a scrappy video, but it's been sort of fairly slow progress. I've pulled all the floor up and mopped up all the oil and fuel and everything else I spilt that's sort of sunk through at the bottom, but that wasn't too bad. This flooring is excellent stuff, and the car is all pressure washed. I used some traffic film remover and I tried some washing up liquid with soda crystals, and nothing is really cleaning up properly. It's not too important because obviously the whole thing is getting a repaint, but the cleaner I get it to begin with, the easier the job will be. So it's not too bad. Got all the junk from Norfolk Arena out of the inner arches. Considering this car was built, left here, used, like I said, at 2 drift days plus a 3rd drift day where 265 West Lakes and a 3rd gear clutch kit just snapped the medium case shafts clean in half before even 1 lap. The car's fairly sort of scratched up and messy. This looks like it's done about 10 seasons hard drifting. But it's a good base, there's no rust anywhere. So I'm quite pleased with that. Clean the rack up, ready to go on the E36. If it fits, I'm assuming it does. The next job is I'm going to cut the front off, plate up, tube, impact protection on the front, because if you have an impact with this, it's prone to sort of buckle all the way along, and I don't want that. I think with a custom made sort of front crash structure, I can scale the size down in tube at each sort of stage and make it so it's more likely to fold rather than completely ruin the shell. So yeah, I'm going to cut the front off and plate the rails up, tube off that. All the little brackets, like the seat framework, the bracket there, the old tank mounts, I don't need them anymore, so I'll cut all them out. Yeah, just try and remove as much weight as possible. And yeah, the rear impact protection I'll modify a little bit, I think. I need to measure the tube just to make sure it is to spec. It might be that it's too big for UK rolls, but I'll measure that first and then adjust it. This main piece of CDS can stay in. I mean, that's a sort of jacking point, so that can stay there. It's just whether this tube off the back here is the right spec or not. Like I said, it might be too big for UK rolls, so I'll measure that and make a decision on that one. This bar up here probably isn't the best idea because it transfers energy in a sort of rear end to the shock tower, so I'll definitely remove that one. So yeah, like I said, a bit of a scrappy video, not a huge amount of progress because of the type of work I've been doing. I mean, obviously working in limited space, I sort of struggle a little bit, but the K series is now down the bottom. I think I will put the JZ on the engine stand. It's just going to make life easier when it comes to cleaning up. I want to make sure the thing's immaculate, like the block is all cleaned up, and you know, so it looks apart when it's in there. So it's going to be easier putting it on the stand. So the K-series is all down the bottom there. The other gearbox that goes with that is down the bottom there. So I've got a little bit more space now. So yeah, anyway, that's it for today. If you watch the videos regularly and you like the content, please click the subscribe button. That helps me no end. Yeah, and we'll see you all soon.